Hey everybody, last night Judas came for the very first time, so uh, I actually stayed up for it, and let's take a look. So the party I used here is Dorothy, two Kushis. Note that one is standard Kushi and the other is Kushi Kake. And for my friend slot is God Striker. Um, so the gimmicks you're gonna have to worry about, you'll see right here, are damage rolls and mines. So having both is very important because both do deal a lot of damage if you cannot handle them. So check your box, look for those two abilities. Now you can also see there's some new gimmicks here, and those are the blue arrows you currently see on the screen, and that is a speed down wall. And just like its name indicates, if you touch it, you will slow down significantly. However, don't worry, there are a good version of that, and that comes out when you take down the specters with the skulls. So when you defeat them, they will put up a speed up wall for 3 turns. And in this stage at least, oh, there you go, you can see it right there on the bottom right. On this stage at least, the specters are also the ones that are producing the speed down wall, so if you take them out earlier, then you don't get any speed downs and you have some speed ups. And I believe the speed ups are only available for 3 turns, so make sure you try and take advantage of them as much as possible. Now, the other threat that you really need to keep an eye out throughout the whole stage is the Viseron, the one on the right. That top right number, that 5, is a volatile blast, and while if you do have enough HP, you can tank it. This is a no heart stage, or so you're completely reliant on those heart panels, so you might not necessarily have the optimal situation to heal up. So I would definitely suggest taking out the Viseron as a priority unless you have a clear shot at the Spectre so that you can put up the speed up walls. That is your alternative. But you only have 5 turns, or 6 turns depending on the stage, so make sure you take care of that. And of course we have ability lockers here. Getting ability lock, like I said, since the damage walls do so much damage, you don't want to be ability locked. And in this case, the speed up wall is actually a detriment to you. So sometimes the speed down is helpful if you just take a little bit too long in not being able to clear out the minions. Now, if you paid attention very closely, there's an important thing about the speed walls. They don't act like healing walls in the respect that if you come into it through indirectly, you don't actually hit the wall, but you kind of touch it. For healing walls, you still get the effect, but for the speed down walls, you have to actually hit into the wall at the point where that speed down is active. So as long as I went horizontal with Kushikai there, and I didn't touch the wall as I passed through it, I wouldn't get the speed down. But if I happen to hit basically the area that doesn't have the damage wall on the top side, only if I hit that area directly am I going to get the speed down. So that's the important thing about these speed walls. So make sure that you're aware of that as you make your decision. I'm trying to see if I can sneak in behind the Viseron, but that last second twitch there made all of that careful calculation worthless. And one other important thing is that you'll notice there will be no weak points on this stage at all. And given how much stages recently, I feel like, especially for the harder levels, that have been focused on weak point damage, I guess it's a little bit refreshing there. Although I will admit I used Harley for a long time before I realized that the boss doesn't have any weak points, so a little embarrassing, but oh well. As you can see, let's see, who is this character? Mummy? Looks like a mummy. She does have the poison mist, so that is an important distinction. It did hit Kushikai, but it did not connect to regular Kushi, so if you have both, that could be a good option so that you have 2 very strong drop monsters to bring along for this stage. And I guess it's a little bit late, but I'll introduce my party. Dorothy here, she is Minesweeper L with damage wall on her gauge, so she is perfect for the stage. Being able to deal bonus damage with the mine is going to be super important here because, like I said, there are no weak points. So the only way to do that extra damage for this stage is taking advantage of the speed walls or having that mine to get that bonus damage against Judas here. Of course, Kushi, damage walls and minesweeper. Damage wall is also on the gauge. So make sure you don't miss your gauges for these characters. Like I said, it hurts. And last but not least, we got Godstriker Transcended. He has damage wall naturally on him, so that's no worry for him. But he also has Counter Slayer on his gauge, which is another great source of damage, especially since Judas does a lot of damage. Well, not a lot of damage. It's very reasonable. It is a impossible quest rather than a colossal quest. So, but the amount of healing that happens, it's not as bad as floor 28, right? With all the PCGs where they just heal it up completely. But if you have enough minions, essentially it will heal everybody up completely. But like I said, the only minion you really need to worry about is the Viseron, which we took out really quickly. Of course, the Spectre, taking him out, will put up the speed up wall, so now we should be able to deal a lot of damage to Judas. And I'm sure if you timed it out well, you can time it so that the speed up wall is active while Judas is towards the right wall. That definitely would give you the ideal. Not only do you get healing there, you're going to be bouncing back and forth between Judas and the wall for a lot of damage. So if you can time it out, I'm sure you can start dealing damage quickly, and probably farming this is probably not too bad once you get the hang of it. Doubt I will do that, but definitely a fun stage. I will admit that. It definitely gives you, another way to think of your shots. Are you gonna hit the speed up walls? So it took a little bit too long there, so I did get that electric blast, but luckily, again, that damage was totally manageable. So awesome. Alright, battle 5. Again, the Viseron on the bottom right should be your main target. If you can get the Spectre on the left, that's always a good thing to get that speed up bonus. And the mine generator, it's hard. You don't want to leave it up because he is going to heal basically everybody. He also has a very powerful one-way lock-on laser. That's annoying. So. But he is also your source of extra damage, right? Your monsters will pick up the mines and then dish out that extra damage that you would normally get through a weak point, for example. So you sort of want him, but you really don't completely. Ooh, that's a little scary. Luckily, Godstriker should be able to dish out a lot of damage and heal. Yeah, I can see the hearts don't actually do a super amount of healing, which is another reason why you want that speed up wall activated, because more speed, more touches of the heart. Now another thing, for those of you who don't have Dorothy, her strike shot is the command strike shot, so if you touch a fellow unit they'll also start running, but the important thing is that her cooldown is only 12 turns. So, for example, if you see Dorothy on your friends list the next time Judas comes up, do not be afraid about using her strike shot. I probably thought about it seriously in the last stage to using it, but because it comes back up so quickly, right? Just 3 full turns and you'll get it back up. It is certainly worth it to use it. Especially on this stage where if you have too many minions left over and you just need to clear them out quickly. Check out their cooldowns, especially with the Viseron, and see, should I use it? Probably yes. Alright, boss stage. Got 32 turns to get 3 gauges off of Judas here. So as you can see, we got ability locker on top, we got Vizirons on the 2 sides, and our Spectre on the bottom. Now the important thing to note here is that Judas herself is going to be putting up some speed down walls. So up until this point, if you were able to take out the Spectre, all of the speed downs would go away and you would be left with just speed ups. But in this case, there will always be some speed downs. So you're going to have to position, strategize your pathing very closely. Also, another good thing with Dorothy here is that she does provide your monsters with a defense up if you're able to hit her. So that will definitely help with the homing damage that the minions will provide, as well as if you get unlucky, get a little too close to Judas for that near spikes. Alright, so we've got Dorothy using her strike shot. Everybody's moving around and... oh, that's unfortunate. So the Spectre stayed alive, but luckily that was not a turn that he was healing himself or the boss, so... gonna try and take advantage of that heart panel. And the homing did sing. And it looks like Judas might be a homing absorber, because those homing attacks did absolutely no damage to her. So you can check game width for that. I'm sure by now the article for Judas is up. But yeah, it certainly looked like a homing absorber there, because that did absolutely nothing. But I mean, look at that. It is great that Kushinada, one of the first impossibles, is still super useful this day of age. I'm glad to see that. Alright, second gauge, again, we've got the Visitor on the top right and the Spectre on the left. So if Dorothy had some mines on her, I think taking out the Visitor on the right would have been a very good choice, but I don't know. There are some downsides to getting that speed up wall up early, because I mean, you're gonna be spending time to take out the minions instead, because you know, if you don't take them out, they're just gonna heal Judas up, right? But if you have an access like this, you're able to hit it and be able to take out the minions, then hey, it works out. And I mean, you know, as is with most stages, right? The ideal situation is, you know, no more minions, just the boss. Of course, sometimes you want some, but whatever. Now we know there should be no more healing for Judas, and we're just gonna try and take her out as soon as we can. Let's see. Homing. So I got the side up. Anyways, looks like there was nothing about that. I'm also looking at it really quickly, so might have missed that detail, but I'm just gonna say that's true. Kind of looked like it, right? Alright. Last stage. We've got everybody's strike shot up, which is nice, so we'll keep God Striker's strike shot, I think, for now. Let's see. Yeah, all that, like with this many minions, you know, the healing is gonna be an issue. And probably, yeah, it's like if the Kushis get stuck in there, unless I can kill Judas outright, it's gonna be a little bit of a waste, I feel like, but I still went with it. But luckily, we at least got the ability locker out, so that is good. So now that Judas has moved into the middle, more freedom to run. And great. Vizeron's gone. Basically, we only have the mummy on the left to worry about. And do note that there's no source of speed ups on this stage, so you're constantly... You're just gonna be constantly dealing with the speed downs and, you know, hopefully finding a path such that you don't get affected by it. That was an amazing path for Kushikai there. Managed to do so much damage. That's such a solid strike shot. And we finish off with God Striker's bash and laser, which I don't even think the laser needed to be fired to kill her. But there you go. Judas completed. Definitely a reasonable quest. I was able to use two farmable monsters. Again, if you can do it, separating out a Kushi and a Kushikai is ideal because of that poison mist attack by the mummy sub boss. So I don't think Judas had one. So yeah, it was just that mummy. So maybe it's not that big of a deal, but hey, it helped out. Not taking damage when possible is always a good thing. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Yeah, we've got a collab coming up with the Dengeki magazine series. Is that what that is? So should be looking forward to that. And so until then, bye bye.